I've been on the phone, I'm running some ads, and I have a lot of people who are contacting me, and there's this belief that they can go ahead, and let me go ahead and say it. You make $30,000 a year, and you think a bank is going to give you a $50,000 credit card. You have low credit scores, 620. You think that the bank is going to give you business funding. You think that if you go out and get an age corporation and use your personal credit to actually push the age corporation, that you can get up to $500,000 worth of credit. And these are the people that are hitting me up because we just started running ads. So right now, this is like Friday. We started running ads Friday, and I've gotten like 25 people. And one of the things, and one of the reasons I'm doing this video is to correct credit misapplications. You need a good personal credit score, depending upon the application. Because I heard something that if you're trying to go out and get solar panels and stuff, and you go through the application process, you need a minimum credit score of 650. That's something I heard. But typically, this is what you're looking at to get massive business credit with just an LLC. Number one, I would recommend that your credit scores be 720 to 750. Also, I would recommend that the utilization on your personal credit report be as low as possible. I'm talking under, like at the moment, the utilization on my personal credit report is 1%. Because I have some cards and they report little payments and stuff, but literally that's what's reported in my credit report, and my credit scores remain high. So to get massive, ample funding, that's what your credit report needs to look like on the personal side. All of these guys, there's a ton of guys who literally are teaching credit education, and they have 20, 30, 40, 50 credit cards. And because they're making money teaching credit education, they have the money to go ahead and pay off their personal credit cards and keep their personal credit report nice, pristine, and clean so they can get more business credit to show you, to get you to buy their course. I'm not saying that's wrong. That's actually the way to do it. But what I find to be remiss is the lack of education, the lack of telling people what they need. Because literally today I've been doing some research and looking at some stuff, and I'm seeing the same things over and over and over again. Number one, if you have bad personal credit, let me qualify that. Let's say you got in an auto accident, you ended up 8 months in the hospital, and all your credit went bad. You know, the car would have been repossessed if it hadn't been crashed in the accident. There's something called a goodwill letter that you could write to all of your creditors and explain what happened and pretty much get all that stuff pulled off your credit report. Yeah, you can do that. Now, the medical bills, there's a way to address that too. We'll talk about that in the future. But if that didn't happen to you and you have bad credit, and what do we want to talk about in terms of bad credit? Bad credit. I'm going to say if your credit score is 650 or less, that would be considered subprime credit or bad credit. I would consider that to be bad credit. And if your credit score is 650 or less, you have something called DROGs on your credit report. Late payments, charge-offs, collections. There's something there. Now, there may not be a lot of things there. They could just be literally one thing can tank your credit score. One thing can literally tank your credit score 100, 200 points. One bad derogatory, and then the other ones, they don't hit it as hard because that first one really did it. But typically, to get a lot of funding for your business credit, your personal credit must be remarkable. And this is one of the things that I'm seeing. Like literally, I've talked to 25 people, and These people don't understand what their FICO score is. Credit score. Like you can go to Credit Sesame, Credit Karma, all these other places. They don't give you your real FICO score. MyFICO.com gives you the real FICO score. And then there's some other things that happen that give you the things that you need to know, the things that you need to have for good credit in terms of scoring. But typically, for you to get business credit, and literally, if your personal credit report is properly optimized, you can get $100, $150, $200,000 in business credit. If you really work the strategy over a period of years, you can get up to $500,000. But you cannot do that with a bad credit report. You just cannot do it. Now, there's a lot of things that are coming to help people to fix their credit. But once again, this is another area that I'm seeing. I sent someone who sent a notification to me, and I said, look, you're going to need to have some money to get started. And I said, to the 5,000, not 10,000, not 20,000, not 30,000, not 40,000, not 50,000, but to the 5,000. And this person said, oh, I can't do that right now. Then I sent this person a question. It's like, what is your actual credit score? What is your actual credit score? And I'll find that out once I'm done with this video. Because here's the thing. And if you have a small business, the banks are going to look at you, the business owner, for the credit up to about 5 million. Let's say you have a company that's doing $8 million a year in verifiable income. You can pull out bank statements, you can pull out accounting statements, and when you file your taxes, it says your business has made $8 million in a year. Guess what? You can go to American Express, you go to the bank. There are different business credit options because you have verifiable income and you're above the 5 million. But if you're not above that 5 million, they're going to look at your personal credit first. And if your personal credit has issues, I saw someone, he was like, his thing was, I don't really have a lot of personal credit because I've never had a credit card. I've never financed a car. But he says, I have plenty of cash and I've got stocks and bonds and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. So how much cash do you have? And he said, he's got $2,000. And I was like, what do you got invested in stocks and bonds? He said about $10,000. So this person considered $12,000 in disposable assets, cash assets, is a lot of money. And I continue to have the conversation with him because one of the things I'm getting from this is where people are and what they think. Because it doesn't matter if I think $12,000 is a lot of money. That's not important. What is important is if this person thinks that $12,000 is a lot of money, and he does. So we continue to have a conversation. And one of the things that I have to do is look at credit reports for myself, because you cannot trust this information. I give you another guy that called me, say his experience was 685. And then we got into it. We started duking it out, and I started getting more information from him. Actually looked at his credit reports. His credit scores were 480, 490, and 520. He has derogatories and stuff. He mentioned, he had some child support issues, but his child support wasn't on his credit report. That wasn't on his credit report. Literally what was on his credit report could be fixed really easily if he had some money. And this is one of the things. So I know there are a lot of people out here who are talking about getting business credit. And if you're one of the people who are teaching how to get business credit and you've been doing it for a few years and you made $1 million or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 million, you now have the financial profile to go out and get millions of dollars of business credit because you have the income and you have the good credit. This is not the case of their students. And this is something that I'm getting ready to break out because I've been thinking about how I'm going to shape this up, because once again, what I'm getting from running these ads is more data where people are. And number one thing that I've come up with, these people don't have any money. Number two, they don't have good credit. Number three, they're looking for a solution. So me as a entrepreneur business person, it's like, how can I provide a solution to these people that will be workable, that will build the things that they want, that they can afford? That's the key. That's the key. As a business owner, your job is to figure out solutions to hard problems and figure out a way that you can make money and you can sell that product or service to the consumer where they can actually afford it. And this is one of the things that I just sit around like today, that this is all I've been doing today. I've been talking to people on the ads and stuff. And then I was like, so probably what I'm coming up with is the 90-day business blueprint. And number one, people have to have an understanding of their business. And this is one of the things I see. Everyone's doing Airbnb. Airbnb, I know personally, is having troubles in Atlanta. Turo, I know a lot of people who are doing Turo are having troubles with Turo. But all of these people are doing this. I have cars on Turos. I have 5 Airbnbs and all this other stuff. And I'm just sitting there. But we don't really know. But once again, for you to actually get an admirable business credit, 20, 25, 30, 40, $50,000 credit limits, those are extremely high credit limits. They're just not going to give those to you because you filled out a credit application with a credit relationship manager. Literally, I bank at Chase, right? And I went in there and I talked about it, and I said, I got a question for you. And I went ahead and talked to the business guy who does lines of credit and everything. To get a line of credit with Chase, unless you have a relationship with them, Chase is very much a relationship bank, where Chase sees a lot of money going to your business account. They may offer you a line of credit based upon your financial performance. But typically, if you're going in to apply for a line of credit with Chase, they're going to want to see 1 year's tax returns to open up a line of credit at Chase. And then I asked this guy about relationship managers, and he started chuckling. And I was like, I'm not the first person to ask you about this. He said, no. And I said, does Chase branch has something called a relationship manager? He said, yes, we do. But, he said, but they have no additional special powers to get you an extremely large credit card limit. None whatsoever. He said that, and I was like, let me guess. That would come from the financial performance of the consumer applying for the credit limit. He said that's where that comes in. And typically you have a lot of people, and this once again gets back to the optimization of your credit report. This really gets to the optimization of your credit report, because once you optimize your credit report and you know exactly what needs to be on there, you can do a lot of things. You can get business credit. There's so many things you can do, but you must understand how the credit system works. And like I said, we started running ads Friday evening, and like 25 people, and we'll see how many, like there's some more probably popping in. So typically, for you to get massive business credit, you need to have good personal credit. There is no way around that. And what you're finding out, like this is something that happened to me. I got a credit card at a credit union. The credit union asked me to see my W-2s, and they asked to see my bank statements to make sure that the money was being deposited into my bank account. So what's happening is the people who are in good financial terms will continue to get all types of perks and limits and stuff. That's going to happen. That's not going to change. And what banks are doing is just tightening up their lending guidelines. That's all banks are doing. They're just, and I would say in 7 years, with some banks, you're not going to be able to get a credit card or anything unless you show them your W-2 and your bank statements. And some banks are going to even ask for tax returns as a normal course of business. I fully expect that to be going on 7 years in the future. So if you want to get massive business credit, you must know the rules of getting business credit. You must know the rules of applying at the bank. Now, there's a new way to challenge credit. It's called Metro 2, which is challenging. And there's factual disputing, where you actually write a dispute letter based upon what you see on your credit report. and there's Metro 2, actually challenging the credit bureau's ability to actually report that item. And there are certain things that the item must have to hit all of the criteria of Metro 2. And if it, like, let's say there's five lines to Metro 2, and the item on your credit report only has 4. Guess what? Because it doesn't have that 5th element, it's got to come off. So this is one of the things that's happening. Metro 2 reporting, Metro 2 credit apps. And one of the things that you will see is that there are people who have access to the software, and from what I hear, they're getting some amazing results. And this is like if you go to Instagram or someone that's like, hey, we can get this off in 24 to 48 hours. It's because they're doing Metro 2 disputing, not factual disputing. And that's one of the things that I'm getting ready to situate, because with the 90-day business, maybe call it the business blueprint, and essentially what we're going to teach you is how to set up your company, how to actually get customers, which is really, really key. That's the hardest thing about business, how to get customers for your business. I'm going to teach you how to structure it, teach you how to set it up, teach you how to get business credit. And another thing I'm gonna throw in there is credit repair. Now, let me just go ahead and say this. If you're someone who needs credit repair, the timeline is going to extend. It's definitely going to extend. But this is one of the things that we're gonna do. So once I get that together, I'll introduce that and let you guys know, and we'll rock with that. But once again, unless you have a business that's making over $5 million of verifiable income, the business credit stuff starts with you. It starts with you and your personal credit report. That's where it all starts. All right, so what I want you to do, since you're here at Hustlers Kung Fu, go ahead, and there's other videos to watch. Be sure to soak them all up. There's not that many videos here, so you can watch them all. And literally watch all these videos, because each video has value for you. That's all I got for you guys today. So start watching some of these videos. There should be a card that's going to drop right here. There'll be a playlist and there'll be a video. Watch the playlist, watch the video, and have yourself a very good time.